Hey, what is going on, guys? Oznominator here. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to Planet Zoo. Now, this is the next game that is brought to us by the developers of Planet Coaster, and obviously we're going to be building ourselves a zoo. Now, we're going to jump into the career mode, progressing through a career in zoo management, and we're going to start off with the tutorial here, Goodwin House. Renovated and renamed after its purchase by Bernard Goodwin in 1980s, Goodwin House has since become one of the most respected zoos in the country. More recently, it has undergone a further renovation to update many of the habitats and facilities, but due to various issues, the work hasn't quite been completed, which is where you come in. So let's start new, let's jump in. And here we've arrived.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets.
Oh dear.
As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat.
Oh dear.
So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Nice.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But
Fantastic.
before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals. We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Okay, I'm assuming that's what's highlighting here.
Did you know that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year?
Really?
Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
That's a lovely view. Can I... Oh, no.
This is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
That's not the view we wanted to start off
When
with.
you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions.
Okay,
Mark
thank you.
their location for you to find.
Thanks. Over to the lions.
Panthera leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40
Wow.
lions in a pride. Although prides of that size are pretty rare.
Look at the detail.
As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome, which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing there.
Okay. Empty habitat. Here's one.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for animals, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Okay.
There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Adopt from the side menu.
Nice.
Normally,
Achievement
the animal
unlocked.
exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works.
Oh.
The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants. When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade centre, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat.
I think I'm just going to scale down my interface here. Just seems a bit Oh. Yeah, that looks a bit better. It seems a bit too large. Right.
As it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
Okay, so I guess I click on this button here and assign them to here. And this one?
When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
Okay.
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible.
You mean there's a warthog in that box?
Have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat, but I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how
Through the
happy they
box.
are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4
Okay.
different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment.
Whoa.
Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's hard to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Okay.
Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now,
Okay.
each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Okay, so we want the food trough and a water bowl.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in.
Okay.
That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy.
Do we want to move that
enrichment
actually?
welfare.
I can't move it. Damn it. Should have posted closer
nice
here.
Work.
Oh,
You've got
I've
a
got some
knack
guests.
for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a pharaoh state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
I'm visiting my own zoo. That's cool. Well, actually, this isn't our zoo, is it? Right, so what did we need to do? I wasn't paying attention to what the lady wanted. Let's see what the objectives are. Locate the... Okay, highlighted area. Okay. Over here.
Oh, before we actually start building our ostrich habitat, let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right corner.
Okay.
That's more like it. A quick break. Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way.
It's a good idea.
Keep the game paused while we get this ostrich habitat built. Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Okay, so let's go into barriers, and we're placing the habitat gate. I assume it's just going here on the end. Outside of placement area. And it's obstructed. Oh, there we go. Oh, because I was holding it on the wrong side. Okay. Place that in.
Let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
Okay, so let's see if we go... Let's make it curve around this corner. Actually, no, we'll keep it to straight along the path here. Let's bring down the length to about there. Then we'll bring it back. Whoa. Okay. Bring it along here. Actually, we're going to go... Oh, can I select that? Delete that. I want to bring it closer to the path so it's more in line. There we go.
Good work. Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier so the guests can see in.
Okay. So we're going to select maybe this section along here and around this corner might be a good spot. So how do I turn that into highlight a section of the barrier and then click the glass barrier in the browser? Okay.
There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't.
Yeah.
The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point.
Okay.
Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
Let's put one just here.
Now, before we adopt our ostriches, you should click the play button. After all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it a bit tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh?
Indeed. Okay.
By the way, as well as pausing the game, you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster. It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat. Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think?
Indeed.
Let's get 4 of them in here.
Wow. Look at the hippos. Nice. Okay, back to our ostriches. Let's head into the animal trading. Now we want to go back to the market. So we're getting 4 of them. So we're going to adopt all 4. And then we're going to move them in. To each of these locations. They've been seized by customs, apparently. And there.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Indeed. Let's place down the slow feeder, water trough. Can I rotate that? And a food bowl. Oh, nice! Achievement unlocked, bronze award.
Good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Oh, look at that.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke?
Yes, he did.
Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals. You'll need to rotate the keeper hut to get it to connect up to the path.
Right. Ah, there's the... Okay. Let's place that in just there. Invalid rotation. Okay. Perfect.
This keeper hut only has space for 1 keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness. Negatively. In case that wasn't clear.
Okay, thank you.
Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
Okay. So we want to place a transformer.
The reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So
Ah,
once you've
okay.
placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off.
Invalid rotation. Does it need to... Oh, it needs to connect to the path. Okay.
Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then.
Okay.
Bengal tigers.
Ooh.
We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away. Righty, your next job is to build a habitat from scratch. And concrete and glass, I expect. So go ahead and build it. Just make sure that the habitat includes that big hole we've dug. Oh, and don't forget to add a habitat gate to the barrier.
Okay, so...
Oh,
What?
and make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
Okay, so... She said concrete and glass, so let's use this concrete wall. And we'll bring it along here. Bring down the length a bit. To there. Nice, we'll bring that around. All the way around. Perfect. Now, oh, no. Now we can put windows on these. So let's edit the barrier. Let's make most of this here a window. Glass. Beautiful. Now why has this gone red? Okay, I won't worry about that. So we want the barrier gate. Obviously we want that on the staff path.
Now,
There.
Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we
Okay.
should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think?
Yes.
The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode.
Okay.
Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a height of at least 3.7 meters.
Right.
Now that the habitat is in place, don't forget to put down a donation box near to your viewing areas. We need every dollar we can get. Especially as these tigers aren't exactly eating instant noodles for lunch.
And
okay,
there.
that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate's in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's
Fantastic.
time we adopted those tigers.
Let's do it. Oh. Exy. Right, move them into here. And this one as well.
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them.
Okay, food tray large.
This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to drink the water. You should
Achievement
do
unlocked,
that
oh
by
my.
going into terrain and selecting the water tool.
Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Calm water.
Yes, that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
Nice. So, protesters have arrived at your zoo. Uh-oh. So we want to add in some enrichment. A rubbing pad. Let's add in a couple of those. And then maybe the frozen blood pumpkin.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely the bad weather. Although given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat.
Okay.
You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
I think we're going to stick with the blueprint. And I'm not sure. I think I'm going to stick it down here. Just lower it down into the ground a bit. Up a bit. There we go.
Poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat.
Oh.
Select a tiger and bring up its information panel.
Ah.
Rightio. Click on the terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat.
Okay, so they need some more soil, so let's add a bit more
Then, open the terrain editing tool, select painting, and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
Step the intensity a bit because it's a bit slow. Add a bit more soil around these parts here, and then they want some more long grass and short grass. Okay, maybe we'll just take back some of that soil. Oh no, they want less. Okay, let's swap it over to short grass then. Put some short grass in there.
Right then.
There we go.
Animals need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, or Asia, Europe, that sort of thing. It looks like these tigers need a few more plants in their habitat. To get a perfect fit, use plants from the rainforest and temperate biomes that are native to Asia. Although if you have to, you can get away with using just one or the other. The tigers will also want a certain amount of their habitat to be covered by those plants. To find out which plants to use and how many, select a tiger and go to the Environment tab.
Okay, so we're going to
now, as you can
biome,
see, some of the plants currently in the habitat aren't
tropical,
quite right for
temperate,
the tiger, like
and
the
grassland.
bushes. You can remove them if you want.
Asia. Continent
You can
of
find all of the plants
Asia.
in the nature section, and you can use the filters to only show the types of plants you want to see. In this case, that's plants from the rainforest or temperate biomes.
Okay, so if we go into here, we can select each of these. And we can just delete the wattle bush. And that should remove all the unwanted stuff. And then we've got all these. We'll put, oh, no. Let's put in some banana palm trees. I want it to align to surface. Let's place down a couple of those. Maybe some bamboo along the back here. Just to cover up that concrete wall. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Just something a bit different. And then let's go back to our tigers and see how that... Okay, so we need a bit more coverage and stuff. Let's turn off align to surface. Okay. Could you just not? There we go. Put in a couple of trees over here. Perfect. And let's put in some elephant ears over here as well. Perfect. And let's see, other big trees. Got some elm trees. Put that in here as well. Perfect. Silver.
They say that good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave. Even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake, don't test
Oh,
that
look.
theory.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.
Okay. Detail in this game is great. Let's head over here.
Just find one of the peafowls and select them to open their information panel. Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing. Although
Okay.
technically, I suppose gandering would just be for geese. Expand their social welfare and we can get a bit more detail.
Social group.
Now, they've clearly got plenty of space and they're not stressed, but it looks like their social group isn't quite right. So let's find out more. Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong.
Adult
Right,
population.
as you can see,
Okay.
peafowls need their population to be larger. To solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Off
Okay.
you pop to the animal market then.
Okay, let's adopt all them. Oh, no. Let's move them in to the exhibit.
Good work on those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her.
Okay, where are you?
Like people, animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite right. You know, like when you see someone put in the milk before the tea bag. In the case of these snow leopards, they're a bit stressed by their lack of privacy. You can lower their stress levels by swapping out the normal glass barrier by their cave for one-way glass. It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you?
Okay.
This will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests. Of course, when an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's probably going to be too hot or too cold. Unsurprisingly for the snow leopards, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather. You should help cool it down by adding some coolers to their habitat. But let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
Okay.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future. Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered.
Okay, now is there a space in here to look at their temperature? Doesn't really say. Environment. There's nothing really in there either. Oh, no, what? Oh, that was renaming. No, we don't want to do that. Enrichment. Social is fine. Genetics. Okay, overview. You'd think it would have somewhere to see their temperature. Welfare, navigable area. Because if I click on... Wait, where's its temperature thing? I don't know what its temperature is. Is there a... Let's have a look at Zoopedia. And we want the snow leopard. Wow, there's a lot of animals in here. Snow leopard. Natural habitat. -4 to 22 degrees. Okay. So let's get in a cooler. Let's get one inside their cave here, I guess. Let's see if we can align that to the surface. And let's set that to... It's set to 0. I think that'll be good. And then let's place another cooler. Perhaps here. That should hopefully help cool it down. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's close out of that. So, add 3 coolers. Okay. So we want another one just about here.
You can find heat maps for all sorts of help.
Oh, that's floating in the water.
Be sure
No.
to explore them and make good use of them. It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopard's terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
Okay. So let's go over to the terrain. So they want a lot more snow. So let's paint in some snow. Why is it doing that? Strange. Now we've got enough snow. We want less. Let's just...
Well then, all of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats.
Okay.
That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic. Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into zoo management and then into the animals section.
Okay.
As you can
Animals?
see, this list shows you the animals' overall welfare. So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the locate button.
Okay.
Right, I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
Okay. Will do. So, do we know where we're at? We need to get the overall welfare to 90%. We're at 85. So let's have a look at the zebras. Oh no, I didn't want to move. No. Whoops. Now let's sort by welfare. Indian peafowl, what's wrong with you? Right, which one are you? Okay, so you need some nourishment. Nope. Let's call keeper to habitat. And let's open up the zoo. Now, the plains zebras, that's what I wanted to look at. Welfare. Your habitat, terrain. Looks like you need some more long grass, some more short grass, and some more soil. So let's get into terrain. I've lost control of you. Wow, this could get very complicated when you've got other animals in here as well. So let's switch back to you. Let's get terrain. So you want a bit more soil. No, you want less soil. Okay, so you actually want more short grass and long grass. Increase the size here. So that's reducing down the amount of soil. There we go. And we'll add in some long grass as well over here. Perfect, and we're removing the soil best as possible. Perfect. Now, next question, are these guys okay with that? Looks like it. Right, now it looks like they need some enrichment, so let's go into habitat. Oh boy. Let's go into species. Giraffe. Do they... Okay. And let's put in a sprinkler. And a feeder. And a rubbing pillar.
Not bad. Not
Yeah.
bad at all. I think it's fair to say that you've passed the first part of your training with flying colours. There's still
Fantastic.
lots more to learn, but we'll have to head to another one of Bernie's zoos for that. If you want to grab your passport, we'll head off, shall we?
Oh, okay.
Sounds like you've got the whole zoo purring away nicely. Well, purring, grunting, screaming, booming. All the appropriate noises. I guess I was right to hire you, huh?
Indeed.
Don't tell her I told you, but Nancy wasn't sure you'd even last the morning. So, we're happy this is working out. And Nancy owes me a foxy coffee. As strange as it seems, considering we just met, when I look at you, I feel like you're the child I never had.
Okay.
The one I did have, obviously. But you see, zookeeping's not for my daughter. Don't get me wrong. Emma absolutely loves animals, but she set her sights somewhat higher. Wants to save the entire planet. I'll just settle for saving a couple of species. Oh, and maybe having a type of frog named after me.
Okay. So that was our first career mode here in Planet Zoo. It was mainly taking us through the basics of running our own zoo, and so far it's looking like a very promising game. I'm liking the detail on the animals we've got here. Unfortunately, we're getting some very awkward camera angles, but apart from that, it's looking good. Well, that's all we've got time for in this episode. In the next episode, we'll be jumping into the next zoo in the career mode. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to drop a like, and feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. If you'd like to see more Planet Zoo and other gaming and modding content, don't forget to click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified on when I post a new video. Thank you very much for watching, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.